By January of 1833, the Beagle had reached the southern tip of South America, Tierra del Fuego, where it ran into heavy storms that nearly swamped the ship. The Beagle was dragged ashore for repairs. Then, the Beagle returned to the southeast coast of South America, as Captain Fitzroy wanted to recheck some of the measurements the mapping crew had made. By the spring of 1833, Darwin had sent back 1,529 specimens: bones, rocks, plants, skins, fishes, and fungi. By the end of the year, he was gaining confidence that his efforts would play a part in the scientific understanding of the natural history of the world. He had set his mind on becoming a serious naturalist, or failing that, a country parson with a love for beetle and bird collecting. But now, nearly 3 years after Darwin left England, he worried about his future. Darwin expressed his doubts in a letter to his cousin, already married and established as a country parson.
Your situation is above envy. The life of a clergyman is a type of all that is respectable and happy. And if he is a naturalist and has the diamond beetle, Ave Maria! The voyage is terribly long. I do so earnestly desire to return, yet I dare hardly look forward to the future, for I do not know what will become of me.
The Beagle was now badly behind schedule, as Captain Fitzroy was a perfectionist who wanted to check and recheck his calculations and constantly worried about their accuracy. But his exhausted crew pushed the captain to sail on toward home. In the fall of 1835, nearly 4 years since the crew had last seen England, the Beagle finally left the South American mainland and continued on its voyage around the world on its way back to England. The next stop was the Galápagos Islands, some 600 miles out into the Pacific along the equator. Darwin was anxious to explore the active volcanoes there, but he was not much impressed at first sight.
Nothing could be less inviting than the first appearance. A broken field of black basaltic lava, thrown into the most rugged waves and crossed by great fissures, is everywhere covered by stunted, sunburnt brushwood, which shows little sign of life.
As he began to survey the islands, Darwin did recognize that the desolate, lava-filled landscape of the Galapagos meant one thing: that these islands were only recently formed. That meant life on the islands had to be newly formed too. And many of the animals and plants he found were certainly unique, like the iguanas that swam in the ocean, called by one Beagle crewman the imps of darkness.
It is a hideous-looking creature, of a dirty black color, stupid and sluggish in its movements. The usual length of a full-grown one is about a yard, but there are some even 4 feet long. A large one weighed 20 pounds.
But Darwin also marveled at the seagoing ability of these iguanas and the fact that they could stay underwater for long stretches. One crewman tied a rock to one iguana and dropped it in the water, waited an hour, then pulled it back up. It was still alive. Darwin conducted experiments of his own. First, he cut open the stomach of one iguana, found seaweed inside, and concluded these iguanas fed in the ocean. Then he picked one iguana up by its tail and flung it into the water. It swam right back. He tried again with another iguana. Same reaction. He reasoned they went into the ocean to feed, but returned to shore when they felt threatened. So, Darwin concluded, even though these lizards were comfortable in the ocean, they still preferred the safety of dry land. Later in his explorations, he came upon the land iguana, an entirely separate species that appeared to be restricted to the islands in the center of the archipelago. In the Galapagos, you had 2 distinct species, each in its own habitat, and each with forms that appeared to be specially adapted to life in their own habitat. Darwin, at the time a believer in God's special creation of all life on Earth, concluded that the Galapagos Islands were their own unique center of creation, though one formed and populated recently with life uniquely suited to the various environmental conditions found there.
Considering the small size of these islands, we feel the more astonished at the number of their aboriginal beings and at their confined range. Seeing every height crowned with its crater and the boundaries of most of the lava streams still distinct, we are led to believe that within a period geologically recent, the unbroken ocean was here spread out. Hence, both in space and time, we seem to be brought somewhat near to that great fact, that mystery of mysteries, the first appearance of new beings on this earth.